Do you have a child who just lives on his phone or her phone? Do you speak to him or her, but there's no evidence that they heard you at all? Are they neglecting their chores, homework, and other members of the family because of the use of their phone? When you call them for dinner, is it like they're deaf or dead? Do they communicate with other people almost solely through social media? Is it like they live in another world, inside a screen or a box? A recent study proved that limitation of screen time, and that itty bitty little screen on a phone counts, was the most important variable that affected negatively brain function in teenagers. No kidding. Makes them dumber. 1 out of 3 kids through the teen years goes to sleep with their phone on them, touching their skin, not just nearby, on a bedstand, but no, on them. It's an epidemic, and I'm not naturally an alarmist, so the word epidemic means something to me. Are you not tired of having your child kidnapped by a screen? I'm here to tell you that there is a solution. And we're not talking about controlling or minimizing the addiction. That's not nearly enough. We're talking about eliminating it. Yes, there are positive occasional uses for a phone. We're talking about eliminating the addictive use of a phone. So welcome to the answers you've been hoping for. For a long time now, you've been looking for ways to help your child. And I greatly admire what you're doing right now. You're looking for answers. You're trying to love your child, which is way more than most parents are doing. And finally, you're in the right place. It's like you've been paddling around in the middle of the ocean, desperately looking for help. And now, almost unbelievably, it's right here. This is the ship you've been looking for. Now, how could I possibly make such a bold promise? Because I know how to teach parents how to help their children deal with the life-altering distractions of phones, which are everywhere. What I teach has been used by uncounted thousands of parents, and it works consistently. I'm not trying to sell you something here that we're going to do. You don't have to wait. The training begins right now. It's already begun. In the next few seconds, I'll be teaching you things about your children and yourselves that you've never known. What a relief to know that right now, you're exactly where you've wanted to be. You can learn what you need to learn. Finally, you can feel encouraged. You can feel hope. You can help your child, and I'm going to help you do that. You wouldn't be here unless 2 things were true. 1, you have a child who is way too occupied with his or her phone, as in way too much, and you care enough to do something about it. I know you've tried to change things. Maybe counseling, certainly nagging, books, programs, yelling, controlling. But your child still buries their face in that screen, in the phone, texting, playing games, connecting, not really connecting, but they call it that, on social media. And you're frustrated and tired, exhausted. You've been looking for something that works, and here it is. Principles that have proven to work hundreds of thousands of times all over the world. If parents are thoroughly committed to learning and practicing what I'm going to share with you today, predictably, I see children quit their phone addiction. It just goes away. And instead, they become happy and productive, even after everything else has failed. You become happy too. It is not hopeless. I'm here to help you, and I'll be using the insight and experience of counseling with thousands of parents. and from writing 20 books and endless articles on the subject, as well as appearing on 1,600 radio and television shows and presenting seminars all around the world, and more. You are about to change the world around you, and you don't have to do it alone, which is miserable and frustrating. You've already proven that with your own experience. So now the question that has to be on your mind: what am I going to teach you that you don't already know? What am I going to say that you haven't already read or heard somewhere else? This is going to be revolutionary for you to hear. So slow down your brain and listen with your soul. What does a child need? We don't ask that enough. What does a child need more than anything else? Well, after food, water, and air, the answer is so obvious. And yet, we keep missing it over and over. To see the answer more clearly, more easily, let's start with an infant. When an infant cries, other than from obvious physical pain, what does he want? You already know because you just pick him up. You're pretty smart. You already know that every child wants to feel cared for. Every child wants to feel loved. Picking them up and holding them is just a physical demonstration of that. And if you're genuine in caring about them, they feel it. But infants are relatively easy to love. They smile and melt your heart and make cute little noises and laugh in ways that we never hear anywhere else. They're adorable. But when they get older, they learn to spill things and make messes and ferociously say no whenever you tell them to do something. They scream in their car seat. They fight with their siblings. They refuse to listen to what you say. They say ugly and hateful things to you and to other people. And they disappear into their phones. They get a lot harder to love. And when that happens, we really don't know what to do. Usually we try to control their behavior, and temporarily we might even succeed, but it doesn't last, and we end up with addicted and unhappy kids. We're not so happy either. So let me say this another way. If our children become more difficult to love as their behavior changes, that proves we don't know how to love them unconditionally. If we love them unconditionally, we'd love them no matter what. But if loving them becomes more difficult when they're ignoring us in favor of their phone, for example, our love is conditional. Unconditional love, or what I call real love, means caring about another person without wanting anything from them in return. Oh, but we do expect something in return for the love that we give our children. Respect, cooperation, gratitude, and reasonable behavior, which would include less phone addiction and more paying attention to us. Now, more about unconditional love. That kind of love would mean that our love would not be affected by what they do. That's what unconditional love means. But we really don't know how to do that. How do I know? We prove it every time we become angry or disappointed or impatient or irritated at them. Our anger and disappointment and frustration are undeniable proof, not just evidence, that our love is not unconditional. Deep inside, you know that what I'm saying is true, but let me demonstrate further. When other people are angry at you, do you like it? No, you really don't. Like, not ever. Nobody does. When other people are angry at us, or when we're angry at other people, we are all saying, look at what you did to me, or failed to do for me. When we're angry, we are focused intently on ourselves. Me. And in that moment, other people, notably our children, hear only 4 words from our mouths and our behavior. I don't love you. When we're angry, we're far too occupied with ourselves to unconditionally love anybody. I repeat, when we are angry at another person, including our child, they hear only, I don't love you. I promise you that this is true. No, we don't mean to say that, but what else could people hear while our words, tone, and behavior are screaming, me, me, me? I don't love you is what you hear and feel when people are angry at you. Think about it, honestly. And it's what our children hear and feel when we're angry at them. Again, we do not mean to do this. We do not mean to hurt our children, but it was inevitable because we were not loved unconditionally, which means consistently loved without disappointment or anger. It means being loved freely with no conditions. So how could we possibly have learned how to unconditionally love our own children? Impossible. And there's nobody to blame. Our ignorance of real love simply perpetuated over generations. We don't know how to love unconditionally because we've never seen it or felt it with any consistency. For emphasis, I'm going to say all of this in a slightly different way. When children behave badly, when they're addicted to their phones, for example, it is almost always a reaction to them not feeling loved unconditionally, loved with no disappointment, irritation, frustration, or anger. Your child uses their phone to escape the pain of the world. Full stop. What are you willing to do about that? This could sound discouraging, even bleak. Well, overall it is bleak. Look at the world. Look at the utter obsession we have with things that are distractions from our pain, from our not feeling loved, like endless entertainment, phones, addiction to electronics, phones, anger, controlling people, drugs, alcohol, sex, and on and on. There is the proof that overall we do not know how to love people unconditionally. If we did, and I speak here with vast experience, these behaviors I just listed would not exist. I've been teaching unconditional love now for so many years to so many parents that I can tell you this with complete certainty. When a child truly feels loved unconditionally, he or she does not become addicted to their phone. Instead, they're happy and responsible and do other more productive things and have all those qualities you wish they had. With sufficient love, there is simply no need for a child to turn to phones, games, social media, and other unproductive behaviors for relief of their pain. Happy people don't behave badly, like being addicted to their phone, for example. Period. Full stop. So that is what I'll be teaching you. How to love your children unconditionally, which then gives them a reason to finally listen to you. How many times have you wondered in your head, why does this kid not listen? What is wrong with this kid? Well, there's an answer. And here it is. Because when you are irritated, your child hears only, I don't love you. And that is so devastating that he or she hears none of the rest of the content of what you say. If you love them unconditionally, they can hear you. They can hear what you're really saying because they're not distracted by their fear. They're not blinded and deafened by the I don't love you message. Then it becomes possible for you to teach them anything. Imagine that, like how to be loving and responsible themselves. And if they have that powerful trifecta, they feel loved and they are loving and responsible, it's a lock. They are guaranteed to be happy, which is the ultimate goal for any parent or, frankly, any person. Your children can learn that being happy is way better than simply treating their pain by substituting screens, texting, games, phones, and social media for real life. Take my hand and we'll talk about what you can do and how I will support you. It will almost be like starting over in parenting. You're going to learn how to be a real parent, and your child will learn the lessons of life that will benefit him or her for the rest of their lives. If you implement what you learn here, and if you do it consistently, you simply will not believe the differences you'll see in your child and in you and in your family. Imagine it. No more phone distractions. None. No more inattention. No more whining when you say it's time to be finished with a game or a conversation. No more tension in the family. It's astonishing to see and to feel. Our children are not defective or bad. We're not bad. We just have not known how to love and teach them. What we're doing with our kids now is simply not working. Loving and teaching does. Rarely is it too late to change whatever unproductive behaviors you're dealing with. Not if you're really willing to learn and to apply these principles to the interactions with your child. I can promise you, learning how to be a real parent is worth it. We're about to learn how to eliminate the behaviors in your children that are hurting them and making you crazy. Really. I make you another promise. Learning to be a loving, effective parent is easier than everything else you've done as a parent up to now. We're really going to get into this. This is not a casual effort. We're not looking to make your children more manageable, like pets or objects. That's not even close to being enough. Our mission is to help you to become a powerful and effective parent and to help your child feel loved and to be loving, responsible, and genuinely happy. It's a transformation. If you are truly committed to learning how to be a parent, I'm fully committed to teach you. And I will bring resources to the table you've never thought about. The rewards are spectacular, as we've seen in uncounted thousands of families. There is not a single thing you'll ever do that will ring through the ages more powerfully than being a loving and effective parent. You can do this. So let's learn some more. Let's get started. Click the button below, it's free, to begin transforming your life as a ridiculously effective parent.